Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to look at some of the common data modeling challenges using Data Manager. We assume that you're not a data architect, you don't know how to write a script, so you're going to solely rely on Data Manager to help you resolve some of these data modeling challenges. So how we do that? Well, before we get to that, let's go over the agenda first. So we'll start with the introduction of Data Manager, which is, in my mind, a self-service ETL tool, and ETL stands for Extract, Transform, and Load. And then we're going to review some concepts such as syntactic keys and circular reference. Now, these two are most common data challenges that you will face as a data modeler. Again, we're assuming you don't know how to write a script. You're not going to write a single line of code when you deal with these challenges. So let's first understand these two challenges, and then we'll dive straight in, create our model, and then use Data Manager to resolve those challenges. Before we begin, my name is Shilpan Patel. I'm co-founder of AnalyticsHub.io. We're a Qlik training and consulting firm. So at Analytics Hub, our mission is to make our students Qlik rock stars by sharing our knowledge from the trenches along with office hours. So if you haven't visited yet, please visit analyticshub.io/academy, and we hope that you'll join us. So what is Data Manager? There are two ways to bring data into Qlik Sense. One is by using Data Manager, which is a self-service data load tool without requiring knowledge of scripting. And of course, we have Data Load Editor, which is for more seasoned professional scriptwriters who know how to write code. In this video, we're going to assume that we do not know Qlik scripting, so we'll rely on Data Manager to build our model, as well as resolving some of this data model challenges that we will face. So the first concept that we want to review is syntactic keys. Now, simply put, syntactic keys occur when two or more fields are common between tables. So the way Qlik Sense associate tables is by using single common field. But when there are more than one common fields between tables, it creates an additional table, and thus it's called syntactic table, which contains syntactic keys. Now, why is it bad? It is because it slows down calculation and it impacts performance. And overall, it's just a lousy data modeling practice, which you should avoid. The next concept is circular reference. And as depicted here in this diagram, circular reference occurs when three tables are associated with one another. As depicted here, employees, orders, and customers are all associated with one another, and that creates ambiguous results. So whenever circular reference occurs, it's best to resolve that challenge. But our problem is that we are self-service user. We don't know how to resolve these challenges, even though we know the definition and why we need to avoid them in the first place. So let's straight dive in. First, create the model. And as we deal with each challenge, we'll see how we can use Data Manager to resolve these challenges. So I'm here in the desktop. I'm going to create a new app. And let's give it a name, Data Model for Dummies. And hit Create. Now, click Open App. And we're going to be given two options to build data model. The first is Data Manager, which is more of a self-service ETL tool, and the other is Script Editor. Now, again, since we don't know how to write a script, we will not write a single line of code. We're going to use Data Manager, and we're going to use OLEDB because we're going to connect to Microsoft Access Database, and for that, we need to first select provider. We will select Microsoft Jet 4.0 OLEDB provider, and we need to provide path and the database name, which is Northwind 2014. So just cut and paste the path and the database name and test connection and hit create. Now we're going to add categories, customers, employees, orders, order details, and products table. As you see, Data Manager is guiding you along the way to pick and choose tables that you need in your data model. It is guiding you every step of the way. Before we click on the Add Data option, we're going to click on Disabling Data Profiling. That way, tables will get associated by single common field name. And keep in mind that field names are case sensitive. And hit Add Data. Now we're seeing some challenges. We have circular reference as well as 2 syntactic keys. Now, since we know what circular reference is and syntactic keys is, let's just close this and let's go back to Data Manager. Here, we're seeing 6 tables that we brought in, but we don't know how to deal with those challenges yet. So let's look at the Data Model Viewer, which will provide us a little more insight than the bubbles. So here, when I click on syntactic 1, it tells me that there's a syntactic key between orders details and products. And if I click on syntactic 2, it tells me that there is a syntactic key between employees and customers, since there are more than one common field between these 2 tables. So let's deal with syntactic keys challenge first. And how do we do it? Well, as we reviewed, the first is between the orders detail and product, and the other is between customers and employees. So now we can dive back into Data Manager and click on this eyelet between employees and customers, in same way customers and orders, and employees and orders. It's evident that we have issue here with this association. So the best way to resolve this challenge is by left clicking on employees and then break this association. So at this point, our relationship between orders and customers is still fine. And now the cognitive engine, which is QlikSense built-in artificial intelligence engine, is smart enough to suggest us that the likely and best possible associations between the orders and employees by using employee ID as common field. You can left click on employees table and you can see the orders with a green dial. That's another visual cue that suggests that I should drop this bubble on the orders table. And now if I click on this eyelet, it shows that everything is fine. We still have an issue between the products and the orders detail. That's another synthetic key. So let's drag products table out and break the relationship between orders details and product. At this point, again, the cognitive engine is smart enough to suggest the best possible relationship between orders details and products, and it is with product ID. So I can simply click on apply and let cognitive engine create that association on the fly. So now if I verify that relationship, that looks good as well. So it seems like I made several changes by simply dragging the bubbles out and reestablishing associations without writing a single line of code. That's fabulous. So since we made some changes, we're seeing asterisks around the table names. Let's go ahead and load data, because that's the indication that at this point we need to reload our script in order to verify the changes that we've made to our data model. So let's go back to the data model viewer. And it's always a best practice to look at data model using data model viewer, which provides us a little more clear view of how tables are associated. And it seems like our data model challenges have all been resolved, including synthetic keys and circular reference. This is one of the fantastic features that QlikSense has added as cognitive engines getting smarter and smarter to not only suggest best possible charts as you build your application, but also help you along the way to build a robust model by helping you resolve some of the complicated challenges that only data modelers know how to resolve. So if I go back to the data load editor, which will show the script. And it's always good to see under the hood how Qlik Sense has resolved these challenges. So interestingly, it qualified multiple fields that were common between tables by using the table qualifier .field name. And that is fabulous, as well as it also resolved synthetic keys between tables by renaming the fields that are not appropriate for association. So normally, as a data modeler, you need to know how to resolve synthetic key by either renaming a field, dropping a field, or create a composite key, or creating a link table. And when two tables have many fields that are common between them, you use qualify statement, but you're a self-service user and you do not know how to write a script. Qlik Sense is doing all that behind the scene to resolve this commonly occurred challenges for you. So now you know how to use Data Manager not only to build the model, but also to resolve some of these difficult challenges that you will be facing along the way. So thank you for watching, and if you like this video, I request you to visit our site analyticshub.io and explore our academy, because this is what we teach on a daily basis to make you a Qlik rockstar. Thank you for watching.